Hi guys, this is Walter from waltersesl.com. 皆さんこんにちは、Walter です。Right now, I'm inside my car, as you can see, and I'm in front of a Starbucks. I'm about to go inside and grab myself a Frappuccino or a coffee. I don't know yet. But before I go in, I thought I'd make a quick video. I have a quick question for you regarding English. How can you improve your English so that you speak and act like a native speaker? Well, I prepared a very special video for today. 今日は特別なビデオを用意しております。And today's video is special because I just interviewed one of my best friends during my short trip back to LA. His name is Jeff, and he's actually bilingual in English and in Spanish. So, we talk about life living in LA. We talk about what it's like working in the restaurant industry. Jeff has been in the restaurant industry for a long time. We talk about that. And we also talk about how Jeff was able to become fluent in another language, okay? And in this case, it's Spanish. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys find the video helpful. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them down in the comment section below. All right, so that's me checking out, and I hope you enjoy the video. ビデオぜひ楽しんでください. I will see you later. Check it out. Hey guys, this is Walter from waltersesl.com, and today I have a special guest. This is my very good friend, Mr. Jeff.
How you doing?
And I've known Mr. Jeff for over
34 years now.
34 years. I went to kindergarten with him, I went to elementary school with him, went to junior high school with him, and high school with him. So we've been friends forever.
And post high school shenanigans?
Yeah, well, we'll save that for another video. But today, basically, I wanted to interview Jeff and kind of talk about his life here in Los Angeles and also his life working in the restaurant industry. So, hi Jeff.
Hi.
All right, so can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
All right, well, like Walter said, we met in kindergarten, so we're 5 years old. I was a crying little baby that didn't want to separate from my mother, so Walter, being the good guy that he is, came to my rescue and, if I recall correctly, patted me on the head and said, "Don't cry." And,
I remember that.
And we've been friends ever since. I mean, we've been pretty much like best friends, always good buddies the entire time. Obviously growing up, you hang out with other people and you go to different classes, but we're always after years of not talking to each other, for whatever reason, we bounce
pick
right
up
back.
right where we left off.
Yeah.
You guys know that I live in Japan right now, and I'm visiting LA for a couple weeks. And first person I called, and the first person who came out and hung out with me was my best friend Jeff. So
That's me.
yeah. So Jeff, right now, what do you do for a living?
Right now, I work at a restaurant, Outback Steakhouse. Been there for about 6 years now. I do a couple different jobs there. I'm a server and a bartender. However, I've been in restaurants for about 20 years now. Since I'm going to be 39 this year. I started restaurants when I was 18 years old, right out of high school.
Wow.
So obviously I've been in the business for quite a bit. Every aspect: hosting, cashier, trainer, busboy, dishwasher, you name it, I did it. Only thing but cook. I did not do that. But I have done the management aspect of it, which requires you to learn every position. So I have had to train in the kitchen as well as every aspect of the restaurant. So I enjoy it. You get to talk to different people every day. Money's obviously decent.
What is the most satisfying thing about the industry or the job?
What I really like personally is I was never much of a people person. I was always too shy, as I still am. So I had a hard time getting up and talking in front of people. Doing this right now is out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it for Walter. But I'd say that doing that particular job has kind of opened me up a bit into talking to more people. I feel more comfortable. But what your question was, the most satisfaction or the pleasing part of it, is I've gotten a chance to meet a lot of very nice people. A lot of people, although I may see once in my life and never see again, sometimes can leave an impact on you by how pleasant or unpleasant they are. We're talking about the pleasant. So a lot of times I can remember people that I've taken care of 15, 20 years ago. And there are people that to this day that I've met whose families have, passed on and whatnot. They're elderly folks, and they keep in contact. They'll send me Christmas cards or letters.
Really?
And these are people that I used to serve at my first restaurant job, which is Mimi's Cafe.
Yeah.
That's where I started as a teenager, 18 years old. So I was there for, with that company, I was there for about 11 years. But I got to meet a lot of great people, a lot of nice people, and you just come across different people every day. But you don't get a chance to talk to them in everyday life. Well, I do. So it's actually kind of nice.
So for that short period of time that you're serving that customer,
for the 45-minute average time the person's at a restaurant is 45 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes. Within that time, I'm able to make a connection with people. More often than not. And like I said, a lot of times it leaves an impact on you, meeting a lot of different people as well as pleasant people. Which to me is satisfaction right there.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of you know, or if you don't know, I used to be in retail as well. And customer service is the foundation of any business. And of course, there are those great customers who make your day, who walk in and make your day fantastic. But there are also those horrible, terrible monster customers. So do you have any experience with those types of people?
Yes.
I'm sure you do.
I've had quite a few. However, the funny thing is those types of experiences don't really bother me that much because I've been doing it for a long time, so I kind of let it kind of blow it off my back. But I would say that one of the most difficult situations in my line of work is, you're going to get a kick out of this one, is our store is right next to a DoubleTree hotel. So we get a lot of tourists. So we get the tourist vans that pull up, and we get a lot of foreigners that don't speak English. So that's challenging sometimes, where there's a group of 30 people. Sometimes they're Australian, sometimes they're Chinese, sometimes they're Indian. I mean, I've had every tourist group you can imagine. And sometimes they have one person that can translate, and the fun part is when they have nobody that can translate. So I've had, just recently I had a group of 20 tourists. They were from China, and nobody spoke English.
Wow.
That was.
So how did you guys communicate? Did they point at the menu and say, I want this and that?
They pointed at the menu. They pulled out their phones to try to get a little translator. Some of the stuff I even download Google Google Translate.
Yeah.
Which works very well, I have to say. Not 100%, but we
can get your point across.
We got by it. Google Translate really saved the day, because I don't have hair, but I was ready to pull out whatever hair I had because I could not communicate with them. It was almost a lost cause. I almost had to go literally to the bus driver and be like, do you have to speak English?
Yeah.
How do you communicate with them? Help me out. But
do you have any employees or staff that are Chinese?
No.
Can communicate with them?
No. In fact, I'm the go-to guy they're not animals, to take care of guests that speak Spanish. Because not a lot of people speak Spanish at my work.
I see.
Me, given the fact that I speak Spanish fluent, I have to be the guy, so I've got to bounce back and forth. But it's kind of cool, to know that you're one of a few that can speak a different language, But sometimes you don't have that person there to help you,
right? And
you have to just get it done. I mean, it's like I've been to restaurants. I've been to Chinese restaurants where they don't speak English, and I point. This is what. Let's try this.
It looks good. Let's try it.
It's a roll of the dice, hit and miss. And that's how I've handled the same way with some people that I can't communicate. I had a table the other day that they gave me, and they said they speak Spanish. Well, it turns out they didn't speak Spanish. They spoke Portuguese. Completely different.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was up against. We both didn't know how to communicate. I could understand a few words. They could understand zero of what I was saying. But we made it. We made it happen. So with everything, you make it happen.
Well, that's interesting. Well, let's talk about being bilingual. Of course, you speak English. Is your first language English, or is your first language Spanish?
No, first language is English. My mother came here from Mexico when she was a teenager.
Okay.
And when she met my dad, she only spoke Spanish. They met. My dad used to work at a car wash. She worked at like a little fast food joint. He used to come to have lunch with her, and that's how that started. But yeah, she spoke nothing but Spanish. So when they started dating and then eventually got married, she still spoke nothing but Spanish. So she basically had to learn on her own because she didn't. Once she started having kids, she stopped working. She hasn't worked since.
I see.
So she really didn't have like a school to go to or a job that people could teach each other. So she just spoke Spanish to us growing up. So me, I learned it just from hearing her speak. As a baby, if you hear it, I mean, to this day, I don't understand. I don't get how kids can pick up on English so easily, but adults find it hard to learn it. At an older age.
Kids, their brains are still at that development stage, and they soak up information like a sponge.
Exactly. So that's I'm assuming what happened with me. Just hearing the Spanish, I was able to understand it. However, as I got older, I realized I could not speak it. So I could understand it, but I could not speak it.
So how did you get to that speaking level?
Most of it was just the shyness I was talking about. I was embarrassed. I thought I sounded silly, and I didn't want to even run the risk of anybody making fun of me or laughing at me, so I chose not to. But I could understand every single word. What got me to start speaking was when I started working in restaurants. I realized that it was I'd have an advantage by speaking it than if I didn't. So I got together with some of the guys, busboys, cooks, and they understood me just as much as I understood them, but we couldn't talk. So I spoke to them in English, and they would speak to me in Spanish. But we understood each other.
Right.
So basically, we agreed, I'll teach you how to just get past the words that you're having trouble with, and you teach me the words that I'm having trouble with. And then eventually, I started doing that when I was 18. By the time I went into management when I was 23, by the time I was 23, I was fluent, speaking 100%. I mean, there are words that I know I'm not saying correctly or come out incorrectly because I've had people tell me, well, you didn't use the proper form of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like people to tell me. That way I know. I don't like people don't tell me because then I grow up using the same form of words that don't make sense, and then finally somebody tells you, and then you're like, why don't you tell me to begin with? So I have guys at work that will tell me, hey, that's not what you say it. So that being said, that's how it happens.
So you got that constant feedback.
Exactly.
You're making mistakes, and you're putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
And then the native speakers of Spanish were helping you correct your mistakes.
Yeah. See, I had the luxury, if you would, to have a job where I could interact with them, where my mom didn't. She was just at home with the kids, and whatever English my dad spoke with her, she tried to understand it, and she said it was tough, but she's been here now in the United States I'm 39, I want to say at least 45 plus years.
That's a long time, man.
Now she speaks, I mean, you've heard my mom, she speaks English, I mean.
Yeah, she's great.
A couple words mixed in with, as they call Spanglish, but for the most part, she can hold her own, I have confidence in her, so.
So being able to speak 2 or 3 more languages, do you think that'll help you, like living in a multicultural, melting pot of people, especially like in a place like LA? Do you think that's necessary? Or does it help you?
I'm not gonna go as far as saying necessary. I think it unofficially is necessary. If that's wrong, if that sounds wrong, obviously you shouldn't be required to speak it. If you don't want to, but it does help. It is an advantage. Like you said, melting pot. There's a ton of different languages. I mean, everywhere I drive, there are quote unquote little towns. Yeah,
there's little Tokyo. There's Chinatown. There's little Italy.
Like when I used to live in La Mirada, my backyard literally was a Korean neighborhood. So
really?
A Korean grocery store, Korean laundromat, Korean everything. And I go into these places and they didn't speak any English. And here I thought, well, we're in La Mirada. Why aren't you speaking no English at all? Like nobody? No, nobody. Really? So that's what I'm saying. You go to different little towns. I've driven by little Indias, little Tokyos, little everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make me wonder, do they have little Americas?
Little
Do they?
Actually, in Japan, if
Little
you go to
United
like
States?
Osaka or Nagoya, they have American village or American town.
Oh, so they do that.
Yeah, and they have like strings of restaurants where you can enjoy American foods like hamburgers, hot dogs, and all that pizza kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But
I would like to see that, how accurate that is. For the most
you'd
part.
be surprised. It's pretty tasty. I didn't get this big. It took a lot of work to get this big. You know that too.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, well, Jeff, let's talk about like growing up, together, like in Whittier. We're from a small city. We don't live in L.A., Los Angeles proper, but we're from a little smaller suburb. Is it a suburb?
Yeah, it's always, what do they call it? Unincorporated? Whatever that
Yeah.
means.
It's a little city called Whittier. And a little fun fact for you guys is Whittier has little gems in this town. And our high school, Whittier High School, is home to
Oh, yeah.
a famous movie, Back to the Future, if you've ever watched it. And when was that film? It was like 1985, right?
85, yeah.
Yeah.
85, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Whittier's had quite a few. Whittier has had Back to the Future.
Back to the
They
Future.
had
Richard Nixon
Nixon.
went to Whittier High School.
And so did the guy that wrote, was it the write or directed Toy Story?
I think, yeah, he either wrote or directed or produced.
John Lasseter, I believe is his name.
Yeah, Toy Story. Disney.
Lasseter, I know his last name.
Yeah.
Toy Story, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He went there, and then there's been something else I just can't. Whittier's been in movies overall. Little parts of the city. Disturbia, remember the one with Shia LaBeouf? There's a house in Whittier.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
The house in Whittier is off of Painter, yeah. So it's, you drive by the house, you can recognize it right away. That's there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
It was a cool little town to grow up in. It's not, when we say little, you don't think it's like a little town in Arkansas with 300 people. No. We were pretty populated, but we were on our own.
It was a nice place to grow up.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I believe we were. I could be wrong, but I believe we were like the last generation of kids that played outside. That was before the cell phones and the video games were around, but we didn't live. We were just talking about this earlier when we had a late dinner.
Yeah, it's interesting how kids nowadays occupy their time, because when we were kids, I mean, we had Nintendo, we had Game Boys and stuff like that, but most of the time we just played basketball outside.
We walked 5 miles to get a cheeseburger from a place that we like. We just sometimes walk anywhere, just got out.
Got out and just talked. And
if you and I rode bikes, but I would ride bikes with some people in my neighborhood, and if I didn't have a bike, I'd borrow somebody's bike or hop on the back, just get out. And we were out until the whole joke about the streetlights are coming on, let's get back home. And there was no cell phones, there was no pagers.
Right, it was literally that way. When the streetlights came on,
so it's getting dark, it's getting late, I gotta go home.
Gotta go home.
We didn't look at our watches, it was just like, it's about time, we better get home. There was no worrying about something gonna happen to us, we were the last, I believe we were the last generation to really get up and out and not just trapped staring at our phone or TV.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I have a lot of pleasant memories of that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was just really relaxing. I had nothing but good memories growing up.
Yeah.
But a little bit different nowadays. Way different. But well, let me talk about Japan, because Japan is in the news a lot recently. I mean, Japan is famous for its technology, its fashion, and all this cutting edge stuff. So, what do you know about Japan? What's your image of Japan, Jeff?
I don't really know much. You asked me my image of Japan?
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know what movie I saw, but I view Japan as Times Square of New York City.
So maybe like Tokyo.
Possibly. I think I saw that in a movie.
Okay.
Where somebody went to Japan and the scene looked just like New York City, Times Square.
Like a big metropolis.
Yeah,
Lights
exactly.
everywhere, people everywhere. So when
subways. You told me you lived in almost like a countryside of it.
Yeah.
For what's the proper term of it? I was kind of thrown back. Like, they have that? I thought it was all buildings and TRL studios and interviews going here and there, left and right.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tokyo is the capital of Japan. It's a huge metropolis, but and I lived in Tokyo for a couple years myself, and
it's no different than LA. You know, I mean, there's so many people out there. Traffic is terrible in the mornings and the afternoons. But me, you know, the reason I moved from LA to Japan was to get away from that. And now I live in a really small town, or a small city, or a small prefecture, I should say. And it's great. There's rice fields everywhere. There's countryside everywhere. We're sandwiched in between the mountains, and there's the Japan Sea on the side. So it's really, really great. It's cool. It'd be cool for you to come to Japan one of these days. But Jeff has a fear of something.
I'm ashamed, but I'm gonna come out with it. If you're flying, no bad experiences. I believe I went on a plane once when I was younger, when my grandfather's funeral was in New Mexico, so it was a short flight. I don't remember it, but my parents confirmed that I did actually get on a plane. I don't know, I just have a fear of it. I'll conquer it one day. Like I told Walter, hopefully we'll start baby steps, Vegas, 45 minutes, and then get to the 12-hour flight out to Japan. So it will happen. I promise you that it will.
We gotta get Jeff to Japan, everybody. So if you were to come to Japan, what's the first thing you would like to do? Like, would you like to try its food? Would you like to go sightseeing, go hiking, or like, whoa?
I would definitely want to try the food.
Yeah.
Just to see what it's about. I don't really.
Well, you've had sushi before, haven't you?
That's what I was going to tell you. I have never been one to experiment.
Yeah.
I stick with what I like. If I like something, put it this way: I've ordered the same thing at Olive Garden for over 20 years.
Oh, really?
I don't. If I find an item that I like and I find it on the first try, which is I believe what I did at Olive Garden, tour of Italy, everybody, phenomenal. I don't deviate from it. That's where I stay, and I've ordered the same thing. So I don't like to try new things, but I just started trying sushi out with some friends at work. They took me, and I liked it. I don't know the names of these things that I got, but they were good. It wasn't, you know, people say sushi, oh, you got a California roll. No, I got some stuff. You know, it was
nice,
legit.
Like the raw fish.
The raw fish, and it was good. Some stuff that they called eel sauce was good. I like that. What's that green stuff? The wasabi.
Oh, wasabi, yeah.
I like that stuff. You know, so it's different. So that would be my first thing to want to try, and then obviously the sights. You know, just check it out. It looks, what I've seen on, you know, pictures and books and stuff, looks beautiful. So of course I would love to check that out. And then just to see the different culture. Like I said earlier in the video, this is out of my comfort zone. I don't normally do this. Hopefully I don't look all tense.
No, it's fun, man. It's really fun being able to interview one of my childhood best friends. And it's not every day that I get to come back to LA and just hang out and just see my family and friends here. So today I just want to thank Jeff for coming out.
Thank you.
For taking time out of his busy schedule. So I know you're a busy man. And to do this interview, and it's great. Do you have a message for my students out there in the Walters ESL scape?
This is a tough one. You caught me off guard on that one.
Well, let's just say, like, a lot of my students are from Japan, and a lot of my students are from around the world too, who want to improve their English. So, what advice can you give to people in order for them to improve their English?
Best advice I could possibly give them is, I would say what worked for me is, don't worry about how you sound. Don't worry about how people interpret you. Don't worry about being corrected or made fun of, or you feel like people are making fun of you. Any chance to improve is the best. How do you call it? The best. Any type of criticism is the best type of criticism. Constructive criticism, if you would. It's how you learn. You get that positive. You get that proper feedback. Because without the feedback, you never will learn, and that's how I was able to figure it out. Because if these guys never told me I was saying this word wrong, I would to this day be saying the same word wrong.
Exactly.
So they were able to tell me, and I was able to step outside of my comfort zone, like I am right now, and just get out there and open your mouth and say it. A lot of people will learn the language, they'll take the courses, but they are afraid to use it. What's the point at that point? Why would you bother to learn if you're never going to use it? Get out there and use it.
Right. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah. That would be my advice is don't worry about sounding silly or looking silly or people thinking you sound silly. At the end, knowing another language is the best thing you can possibly do.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can do when you're bilingual. You can travel, right? You can meet new people, make new connections,
Yeah.
and who knows? I mean, you might land a connection that will find you that next best job, or next partner in your life.
Exactly.
So you never know. All right, Jeff. Well, thank you very much.
Always, anytime.
All right, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Hope you like this one. Peace.
Bye.
Cool.